This is CBS.
Good evening, I'm Vicki Yates.
And I'm Chris Clark. Coming up on News Channel 5's 6 o'clock report, the shooting of Jackie Brooks leads to the resignation of a grand jury member. The bus driver's condition is improving, but there are still few clues in the latest violent incident in the Greyhound strike.
The company that's trying to take over American General has a new strategy. And how do we rate? Find out the EQI of our air and our water.
These stories, and that bell is going to ring after all.
The 6 o'clock report is next. Join us.
S&K is opening our 3rd store in Nashville, our 8th in Tennessee, with a spring sale you can't miss. Robert Stock poplin or pincord suits are on sale for just $99.97. Year-round wool blend suits, $149.97. Linen blend sport coats in 5 exciting colors, $79.97. And Damon short-sleeve dress shirts, $10.97. Nashville's all-new S&K. For men who dress for success, there's a brand-new address in the shops at Rivergate.
Introducing the ultimate vehicle for weekend enjoyment. With tilt wheel, adjustable seat, power steering, and shaft drive. Introducing the toughest Cub Cadet garden tractor ever. It makes yard work as easy as a Sunday drive. The comforts of a car, the toughness of a truck. Cub Cadet. Tough American-built tractors for your little corner of the world.
You're watching WTVF, Nashville.
This is the News Channel 5 6 o'clock report with Chris Clark and Vicki Yates.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Clark.
And I'm Vicki Yates. Thanks for joining us. The foreman of a grand jury scheduled to hear evidence in the Jackie Brooks shooting has stepped down.
It was a surprise move, Vicki, and that's because Stan Fossick's wife is employed by the Metro Police Department. A Metro Police officer, Bill Sneed, shot and killed Brooks last March after responding to a domestic disturbance at her home. The grand jury will hear testimony about whether Sneed's action was justified. This afternoon, attorneys for the Brooks family called for Fossick, the grand jury foreman, to step down. But District Attorney Torrey Johnson said Fossick had already expressed reservations about the case last week because of his wife's employment with the police and had asked to be removed from the grand jury for the Brooks case. The new grand jury foreman is Kirk Smith, a faculty member at Meharry Medical College.
The driver of a Greyhound bus who was shot Saturday night in Robertson County is in better shape tonight. Today he talked with investigators who are also asking the public to help them find out who pulled the trigger. News Channel 5's David Collin has more.
Somehow, the wounded driver of this bus was able to pull it safely to the roadside Saturday night, and none of the 48 passengers was injured. But the bullet, which rocketed through the driver's window, shattered his left elbow, went through his leg, and lodged in the door frame. 58-year-old David Bryan's condition has been upgraded from critical to fair. Bill Holt, special agent in charge of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, says the probe into the weekend shooting now includes local law enforcement, the FBI, and the Federal Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms Bureau. Authorities are still looking for a black or dark blue pickup truck with the 2 men in it seen leaving the area of the shooting. Holt wants calls from anyone who saw it.
That may have observed some interaction between a pickup truck that seems strange to them. That, you know, if they'll call in, maybe they'll have a better description of the vehicle that we're looking for.
The number to call the TBI is 741-0430. Greyhound is offering $100,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the shootings at their buses. They're taking confidential calls toll-free at 1-800-527-2266. The company blames Saturday's shootings on the drivers' union, on strike now for a month. Drivers in Nashville say they don't believe their people are responsible.
I guess some of the public probably think we did. It was union-related, I don't know.
Most of the picketing drivers had no comment.
Greyhound officials tell us there has been no decline in their ticket sales since the shooting on Saturday night.
In the Nashville terminal, people are in line to buy their tickets. Some were reading newspaper articles about the shooting.
I don't feel good about it. But sometimes you have to do what you have to do in case of an emergency. You know, what else can you do?
I mean, I trust Greyhound, but after all this, I just don't know anymore.
And some of Greyhound's passengers don't have a care in the world. David Collin, News Channel 5.
In tonight's telepoll, we'd like your opinion on the violence in the Greyhound strike. Tonight's question, do you think Greyhound buses are safe to ride? If you think they are, call 737-5000. But if you think Greyhound buses are unsafe to ride, call 737-5001. We'll have early results on the 6:30 report, and the strike violence is also the subject of tonight's 5 on the Square. That's coming up on the 6:30 report.
Vicki, grim statistics. Last year, there were 5,000 cases of child abuse or neglect in Davidson County and 34,000 statewide.
That is grim. And so, Governor Ned McWhorter has proclaimed April Child Abuse Prevention Month here in Tennessee. Singer Chrissy Jackson Askew is touring the Nashville area with songs counseling children on how to protect themselves. Activist Sheila Cunningham told me programs like these are designed to get children to speak up about abuse.
It's a tremendous avenue to get them to listen and to really hear and to really open up and deal with possibly abuse that they've had or questions or how to overcome and prevent abuse from happening.
The program is being featured at a number of local malls through this month.
Well, it appears that Ned McWhorter is going to have a Republican challenger in the governor's race after all, but how much of a challenge, well, that remains to be seen. News Channel 5 has learned Memphis businessman Carroll Turner will officially announce his candidacy during a tour of the state on Thursday and Friday. Turner met with GOP officials in Nashville last week, but Republican insiders say Turner is not the candidate who can steal votes from a very popular incumbent. There are some new developments today in the takeover bid for American General Insurance Company. The Birmingham-based Torchmark Corporation has withdrawn its bid for American General. Corinne Russell's been looking into it, but I understand there's some maneuvering that, in strategy that could change all of that again.
Absolutely. Torchmark is apparently not giving up the fight to get American General. The company is just using a slightly different strategy, which some might consider a bit unusual.
The price of American General's stock has changed a lot in the past week, reflecting the changes going on behind the scenes. A week ago today, the stock closed at 31 3/8. On Thursday, when news of the takeover attempt hit, it went up to 40 1/8. Today, when the market closed, it was down again to 36 3/4. The fall in the stock price, say analysts, is a result of Torchmark's withdrawing its unsolicited takeover bid. But that doesn't mean Torchmark's efforts are dead.
They've proposed a slate of 5 directors to be hopefully voted on by shareholders of American General.
And if American General shareholders elect that slate to the company's board, some believe the board would be more open to accepting Torchmark's offer or other offers that may be solicited. But American General has countered that its bylaws wouldn't allow that to happen on such short notice, and it's filed suit to block the new slate last week. Regardless of what the court says, American General is confident.
The way in which American General has managed the company has been in the shareholders' interest, and I believe that they would back existing management.
The bottom line here is that many observers say a takeover or buyout of American General is still very possible. It just may not happen as quickly as once thought. Or another option, some believe, is that all that's been stirred up might prompt American General to consider some of its own internal restructuring. And, Chris, that could possibly up the price of the stock and keep the company from being purchased anyway.
Well, Corinne, how's this going to affect the people who work for American General?
Well, there are 1,500 of them in Nashville, many more in Houston. It's unclear yet if any purchase is made, if it would affect them. But most say if there is any effect, it would be more likely in Houston than in Nashville.
Okay, thanks, Corinne. Vicki?
The controversial church bells at the Bellshire United Methodist Church will chime again. They'll ring out Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday. The bells were silenced in January when neighbors complained in court. But a judge says the upcoming holidays call for an exception. The case goes back to court this summer. When we come back, why MTSU may not be much longer, and how's our EQI?
And what you may ask is an EQI? That's our Environmental Quality Index. We'll tell you all about it right after this.
Dressing for the 90s will bring a whole new feel to fashion. We're leaving the hard edges of the 80s into a more softened silhouette, softening in fabrication, in color, in line. Representing this general softening trend is laissez-faire. The pastel colors and the gentle lines create a very feminine effect for day dressing. We're not having a revolution, we're having a quiet evolution. It's a wonderful, exciting time in fashion.
Leslie Faye and Leslie Faye Petites. Dress it up at Casnanut.
For sale, Captain D's. Oh, yeah. A celebration.
It's a shrimp celebration at Captain D's. Boiled, fried, baked shrimp. 5 great shrimp dinners priced from just $3.99.
Let's celebrate.
Shrimp dinners from $3.99 at Captain D's. Oh, yeah.
Most any riding lawnmower can lead you down the straight and narrow. But if you're looking for a shortcut, nothing else can turn and turn and turn like a Dixon, the original zero-turning radius mower. Turn on a Dixon and buy yourself some time.
Every spring, a national landmark comes to life for a celebration of racing. Be a part of the color, the excitement that is uniquely Keeneland. Celebrate the tradition, April 6th through the 27th.
A lot of research went into a new study of our air and our water and the rest of our environment.
That research is by the Tennessee Conservation League, a private nonprofit organization, and it blames the state's environmental problems more on plans for future development than on current industrial waste. News Channel 5's Lisa Gottlieb now joins us to tell us what else the study found. Lisa.
Vicki, the Environmental Quality Index looks at how well Tennessee has protected the environment over the last 20 years. Although we don't have exact comparisons because some things just weren't measured back then, the index does report some progress and some areas that need improvement. Since 1970, Tennessee has made tremendous strides in the quality of the air we breathe, the water we use, and the way we handle our solid waste. For example, in 1968, only 8 of the state's 270 disposal sites were sanitary landfills. Today, all are. But according to Dr. Edward Thaxton of the Tennessee Environmental League, the way we develop land is creating the state's biggest problem.
More stress is being placed on the environment of Tennessee today by simply development aspects, conversion of rural to urban land, and intensive use of agricultural land.
Thaxton says controlling soil erosion could solve the problem, and that takes better planning and better engineering. League spokesman Anthony Campbell says protecting our environment is worth the extra money.
The real problem that we face in Tennessee, from our perspective, is that there's not resources available within state government to do a good job.
The study shows soil erosion related to development is our biggest problem here in Tennessee, but it says global problems that are out of the state's hands.
Lisa, did the index list any solutions to the problems?
Well, Vicki, not specifically, and there's even more bad news there. The league says even if we could figure out how to solve the larger problems, the solutions would be incredibly expensive.
Thanks, Lisa. Chris.
Well, anyone who wanted to use the Church Street Viaduct to get downtown this morning ran into a little problem. Namely, the viaduct is closed for repairs. It'll stay this way for the next 2 years while repairs are completed. All traffic must use Charlotte or Broadway until then. And there could be a change on the way for Middle Tennessee State University, a name change, that is. A resolution approved in the Student Senate wants to do away with the word state in MTSU and change the school's name to the University of Middle Tennessee. It's not a done deal yet, though. Any name change would have to be done by the legislature. Take this break in the news to welcome Vicki Yates.
I'll go by Lisa.
I know who Vicki is. We just had Lisa on the air, didn't we?
We sure did.
Vicki joins us now on the anchor desk, and Vicki, we're glad to have you with us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. This is a great place to work. It's a great place to live. It is.
You and the kids settled in yet?
Thank you. We're settled in, but we still have boxes to unpack and dishes to do and all that kind of stuff.
We know that feeling, don't we?
Everybody is just meeting you today on the air, but we've had a chance to work with you here at News Channel 5, I guess, for about a month now. You're a real pro and a genuinely nice person.
Thank you, Ron.
Welcome.
Thanks very much.
And the weather is going to turn cold.
Oh, no.
Oh, doggone. Just when we thought we had it made, temperatures today well above normal, but now another surge of cold air, and I would not be surprised to see some snow flurries for the upper portion of East Tennessee in the next 24 hours. Incredible. All right, here's a look at the Weather Watchers Network now. Early morning low temperatures were fairly mild. Temperatures in the mid to upper 40s, with the warmest readings actually in the southern counties. 55 degrees recorded this morning in Winchester. Well, in Nashville officially the last 24 hours, 66 the high temperature and 49 the overnight low, with no precipitation to report. Right now in Nashville, it is 58 degrees. The relative humidity is a low 29%. We have northerly winds 16 miles an hour, gusting to 24 miles an hour. The pressure is at 29.96 inches of mercury and rising. I want to show you first of all the satellite pictures. We're going to put the weather in motion here, the last 10 hours of satellite pictures. And look at this, friends, a big, strong, cold core storm system up over the Great Lakes, propelling a cold front. The clouds we saw this morning moved rapidly on to the east, and the clouds that are blossoming up here along the eastern part of the eastern seaboard, actually, that's where the cold front is now, moving into parts of North Carolina, into Virginia, and you can see those thunderstorms moving that way. Other showers and thunder showers down along the Gulf Coast. As we take a look at the southeastern U.S. with the radar data, heavy thunderstorms to the east. These are all severe thunderstorm watches. Also heavy thunderstorms down along the Gulf Coast, as I mentioned. But for the most part, dry air is over Middle Tennessee at this hour. Now, the cloud area that you saw in the satellite pictures coming in from the north is getting a little bit closer to us now. And I think the best forecast for tonight is for us to go cloudy here in Middle Tennessee. Certainly, it's already clouding up over much of Kentucky, and that cloud area is moving southeastward. Look at this big difference in temperature between Nashville at 58 and Bowling Green at 45, and this hour up at Cincinnati at the Covington, Kentucky airport, it's 39 degrees. So the handwriting is on the wall. The cold air is coming. Tonight's lows for us will be in the mid-30s. I think mid-20s are likely over much of the northern portion of the plain states. Tomorrow's highs peaking out only in the low 50s for us. Some of you in Kentucky may see highs only in the 40s tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, temperatures will be rebounding a bit into the low 60s. Now, tonight's weather map, a low-pressure center getting itself together up over the Cleveland area. Cold front moving off into the mountains now. Lingering residual cloudiness coming in behind that. It's kind of wraparound moisture coming all the way around the low-pressure center, so we'll be clouding up tonight. And late tonight in the early morning hours toward dawn tomorrow, maybe a few snow flurries, the upper Cumberland Plateau up into the northeastern corner of Tennessee. Certainly won't amount to anything, but golly, after the weekend, that's pretty hard to take. Wednesday, things will be faring up nicely and beginning to warm up as that system heads off to sea. The next cold front could bring us some rain about Thursday, and we'll have a look at your forecast in just a minute.
Physicians was my salvation. They helped me become the person that I am today. Before I went to Physicians Weight Loss Centers, I was a frumpy woman, and now I've become a sexy, beautiful woman again. I have lost 62 pounds and 65 inches. Now I'm thin, and I can do anything I want. I feel I can take on the whole world.
Our plan works, and to start you off right, we'll give you our physician's pre-diet exam free.
Don't wait for another day to pass. Call today.
Tonight, turning cloudy and turning much colder. A low temperature of 35, northwesterly winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Do you get the idea that this weather is some kind of a test, you know, to see if we could make it through this spring? All right, over the day tomorrow, we're going to see partly cloudy skies. I think most of the clouds will be in the morning. High of about 52. Low tomorrow night, 31. Could be some more freeze problems for vegetation. And then over the next 5 days, it'll be warming up to 60 on Wednesday. Chance for showers, 63 on Thursday, and then turning a bit cooler again with highs only in the 50s for Friday and Saturday. So any way you slice it, a below normal weekend temperature.
And it was so beautiful today.
Yeah, it doesn't last, does it?
No, it sure doesn't. Thanks, Ron.
Okay.
Now let's check in with Bud Hedinger.
He's here to tell us what's going to be happening on our 6:30 report. Bud?
All right, we'll do that. And Vicki, he got you some great weather for your debut.
Sure did.
He doesn't do that for everybody. I can tell you
Thank
firsthand. All right, now let's talk about that 6:30 coming your way shortly here on News Channel 5. Some strange circumstances surrounding a house fire in Donaldson. A man says he was tied to his own bed as the fire burned. A 30-mile fuel spill threatens Pittsburgh's water supply as it floats down the Allegheny River. And in Buffalo, New York, a commuter nightmare. The transit system shuts down. It says it's run out of money. Those stories and some answers about those new check-cashing stores, all coming up shortly on the 6:30 report. I hope you'll stay with us. Now, Chris and Vicki, back to you.
Thanks, Bud. Vicki, when we come back, Hope Hines is going to have a preview of that big game that'll be seen here on Channel 5. Should be exciting.
But first, on Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed to 2,700.45. That's down almost 7 points.
Listen to the scissors turning all around. Don't you love the sound of a price coming down?
Assorted grinds Maxwell House coffee, 13-ounce bag, $1.69. Selected brands frozen bone-in turkey breast, 99 cents a pound. And new crop in-husk yellow corn, just 12 cents an ear.
If you're looking for a new sofa, but you're not exactly sure of what you're looking for, then come see us at the Furniture Center, because we've got something in every style. Many different fabrics and colors can be seen every day in all of the most popular styles from famous manufacturers like Broyhill, Barclay, People Loungers, and more. Plus, you'll save even more on this week's special, now only $3.99. At the Furniture Center, our prices are right. The quality's there, our selection is better, and you get service after your investment. That's why we're your Furniture Center.
Green Sweep ready-to-use liquids. Keep your lawn healthy and green all season. Just hook up Green Sweep and turn on the hose. 10 minutes later, they'll never know how easy it was. Lawn care with Green Sweep is different, because a beautiful lawn shouldn't be all work.
This season, when you buy Roundup Grass and Weed Killer, you can save up to $120 on American Airlines tickets. Let Roundup get rid of your weeds while you take off with American. Nothing kills weeds better than Roundup.
If someone was to ask me, if someone new in town would ask me, where should I bank and why should I bank with First American National Bank, I'd tell them that if you want to do more than just set up an account and buy a certificate of deposit or set up a money market account, if you want some help, if you want some advice, if you want some counsel, go to First American, because the people will do precisely that.
Okay, Vicki, before we get to the big guy over here, who do you like tonight?
UNLV. I think they're going to win.
You got to go with UNLV.
Well, see, she already look at her intelligence. I mean, the lady knows about sports. She knows UNLV is going to win. Now, we want Duke to win, but we know Duke ain't going to win, so we pick UNLV.
So it's unanimous.
And you? And you?
UNLV, I said.
Oh, okay. 3 of us up here. How can they lose? Well, we're going to show you the computer pick here in a minute. Well, the king of college basketball will finally be crowned tonight at Denver's McNichols Arena. The Duke Blue Devils and the UNLV Running Rebels will lock horns for the national championship. For Duke, it's an old story. Yes, they've been in the Final Four 3 years in a row and 4 of the past 5, but never have they won the big one. And about that, Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski says this.
I think it would be really bad of me to place on this team something that is perceived that I have not accomplished.
I think we had to step to the forefront a lot of times to lead the younger guys, because they were looking to us, because in the tournament they don't have any experiences, whereas we've been here several times.
Well, fans can expect to see a fast-paced game between Duke and UNLV, with the Blue Devils averaging nearly 90 points a game and the Rebels just over 93. Both will run, but both can play half court.
I think it's important for the whole state, because Nevada is a small state. We're not involved in a lot of things, and I think it would be great for the pride of the people in all of Nevada.
We're at targets all the time, so you kind of get used to it, and sometimes it's kind of neat, because they do say some clever things that are funny, and we get a kick out of it, seriously, because for the most part we believe it's all done in fun.
All right, if you want to know who's going to win, Lance Hafner's computer says, look at it, UNLV 84, Duke 77. Looks like a pretty good point spread. UNLV is favored by 4, and you can see it right here on Channel 5, 8 o'clock tonight. The University of Florida has a new head basketball coach. Taking over for the troubled and struggling Gator basketball program is Kansas State's Lon Kruger, who was 81-46 in 4 years, taking K-State to the NCAA tournament in each of his seasons. Kruger replaces interim Don DeVoe, who had replaced Norm Sloan, who resigned under pressure for alleged recruiting violations. And yet another college hoops coach switched colors today. Oklahoma State's Leonard Hamilton was named head coach at the University of Miami. Hamilton, the former University of Kentucky assistant, will succeed Bill Foster, who resigned. We'll have a new feature for you here on our 6 o'clock sports, but first, this time out.
Yo, I'm a hot potato MC and the fries. There's a new game, McDonald's Fries Surprise. When you buy hash browns, large and medium fries, peel off the tab and play Fries Surprise. Prize is like a 69-cent Big Mac, dude. Up to 10,000 cash, it just takes a winning attitude. Trips anywhere, Delta Airlines flies. Every time you play, you win a prize. McDonald's Fries Surprise won't last long, so hurry and play before it's...
I am indeed happy about this. For all of the thousands of fishermen in our Channel 5 viewing area, we will have a daily fishing feature during our 6 o'clock sports. It's called the Sportsman's Clock, which will predict the movement of fish and the best times in the morning and afternoon to catch them. The Sportsman's Clock for tomorrow indicates excellent periods for catching fish from 5:45 to 7:45 tomorrow morning, and from 6:05 to 8:05 tomorrow afternoon. Good times are 11:50 to 1:20 in the a.m. and 12:10 to 1:40 in the p.m. And we hope that helps you in your fishing expeditions. Jack Nicklaus made his first appearance on the Seniors Golf Tour, a memorable one yesterday. The Golden Bear joined the 50 and over crowd by winning the Tradition in Scottsdale, Arizona. Only Arnold Palmer, Gary Player, and George Archer have won their first outings on the Seniors Tour.
I didn't know whether I was going to shoot 68 or 88, as I told Barbara this morning, because I hadn't been in a position to lead a golf tournament in a long time. But I think some of the old memories came back. I kept my composure very well. My swing really held up very well, which really pleased me. That was the biggest thing that needed to happen.
Well, Nicklaus said he wanted to win on both the Seniors and the PGA Tour this year. With one down, it's on to Augusta and the 54th Masters tournament this week for Nicklaus. Jack has won the famed green jacket a record 6 times and says he feels extremely good about his chances for a 7th title this week. And by the way, we will also be carrying that tournament here on Channel 5 and CBS. So,
okay. Thanks, Hope.
Big week for Jack.
It's the Week of the Child coming up.
We'll tell you more about that when we come back.
21st century technology works day and night to link all Walgreens pharmacies, so your current Walgreens prescription records are always as close as your nearest Walgreens. With Intercom, we can tell you when savings are available. We may even help prevent an allergic reaction. Concerned pharmacists, superior healthcare technology, only at Walgreens.
New at Walgreens, Ultra Slim Fast and Travel Paquettes. Now you can lose weight on the run. Get a free shaker with Ultra Slim Fast Travel Paquettes at Walgreens.
You know, we should get a Toro GTS lawnmower.
Oh, lucky kid.
They're guaranteed to start on the first or second pull for 5 years, or Toro will fix them for free.
Oh, see? He kicked again.
A mower like that could last a long time.
Oh, there's another little kid.
In fact, someday, little Junior there might even use it.
The Toro 5-year starting guarantee.
Toro mowers starting as low as $349 at these Toro dealers.
Hi. Do you have Ninja Turtles? Is it here?
It's not here. It's nowhere.
Is it here?
Oh, yeah.
If you're getting nowhere,
Not here.
it's because you didn't start here. The real Yellow Pages from South Central Bell. It's here or nowhere.
Wouldn't it be great if you could turn an old den like this into a dream den like this without paying for it? And wouldn't it be great if all it took was finding beer in a store? Announcing Keystone's Dream Den giveaway. Just go to a store, find Keystone and Keystone Light, and enter. If you win, say hello to this big screen TV, deluxe stereo, mini refrigerator. How about a pool table? Keystone's Dream Den giveaway. Wouldn't it be great if you won?
Chris, this isn't just any week here in Nashville.
Right, Vicki. This week has been designated the Week of the Young Child by the Nashville Area Association of Young Children. Now, a lot of kids gathered for what was billed as a Milk and Cookies concert at the Bluebird Cafe, and they just loved Henry Corey's show.
Right there on his mailbox, it said Dinosaur Jones. Dinosaur Jones, clap your hands.
The annual Week of the Young Child event is designated to increase awareness of the needs of families with young children. The events will continue throughout this week. And that's our 6 o'clock report. Thank you for joining us.
Now here's Bud Hedinger with the 6:30 report. Bud.
Thank you, Vicki, Chris, and good evening, everyone. Coming up next on News Channel 5, 6:30 report, the water supply for hundreds of thousands is threatened as miles of spilled fuel float toward Pittsburgh. Fire breaks out at a Donaldson home, and the man inside barely escapes, saying he was taped to his bed by an intruder. Find out about those check-cashing stores that are popping up everywhere. Those stories and Iraq's frightening threat against Israel, all next on our 6:30 report.
Since the turn of the century, JFG has been a tradition in fine coffee, just as making quilts by hand has been a tradition in Laurel Horton's family for many generations. The traditional quality of JFG coffee with its down-home flavor and aroma guarantees a great cup of coffee every time. That's why folks in these parts enjoy JFG coffee cup after cup after cup. Whether it's JFG Special, Bonus Blend, or Sabro Decaffeinated, Shouldn't you be enjoying a cup of JFG coffee right now?
I don't have a problem getting a date. It's just a problem getting the right date.
You've got to decide what type of a person you really want. One of the options people may choose would be bars.
When a company is looking for a person to fill a position, the president of the company doesn't go down to the bar and sit at the bar and buy drinks for everybody till he thinks he finds the right person he wants to put in that position. They hire a professional agency to seek out that individual.
They're out there. We just have to find a way to find each other.
S&K is opening our 3rd store in Nashville, our 8th in Tennessee, with a spring sale you can't miss. Robert Stock poplin or pincord suits are on sale for just $99.97. Year-round wool blend suits, $149.97. Linen blend sport coats in 5 exciting colors, $79.97. And Damon short-sleeve dress shirts, $10.97. Nashville's all-new S&K. For men who dress for success, there's a brand new address in the shops at Rivergate.
This is the News Channel 5 6:30 report with Bud Hedinger.
Good evening. We're glad you're with us. Topping our news tonight, 3 very different problems plaguing 3 of the nation's cities. First, a menacing oil slick. This time it is not Alaskan wildlife that is threatened. It's 1 million people along the Allegheny River in western Pennsylvania.
While it's a fraction the size of the great Alaskan oil spill, this slick along the Allegheny will affect far more people because it's polluting the water supply 1 million customers depend on. A landslide cracked a pipeline last Friday, sending a mixture of gasoline, kerosene, and other fuels into a creek that feeds the Allegheny. Today, the slick is 30 miles long and headed for Pittsburgh. Boats have been laying out booms to contain some of the spill, but you can still see fuel slipping through and sliding downstream. A state lawmaker surveying the slick was encouraged by the cleanup in this area.
This morning when we were in this general area, this whole inlet was just loaded with oil, just on top. And as we come in here this afternoon, we noticed that a lot of it has been siphoned out and or skimmed out.
Even so, estimates are that most of the 100,000 gallons of fuel that leaked into the river is still there. Fish kills have been reported. Some birds are coated with oil, as are their eggs and nests. Some towns have shut off their water intakes from the river because treatment plants cannot filter out the fuel. A number of school systems have closed. At last report, the slick was 5 miles above Pittsburgh. Residents there are being asked to conserve water because the city has only 2 or 3 days of clean water in storage.
In Buffalo, New York, a very different type of crisis. These kids had to walk, hitchhike, or catch a ride with their parents to get to school this morning. The reason the entire public transportation system in Buffalo is shut down.
Got to get up way earlier in order to catch a ride with my dad. So it's hard. A lot of people aren't going to be going to work. I'm not going to work today after school because that's my mode of transportation back and forth to work.
This group, the city's transit board, says it doesn't have enough money to operate the system. A compromise to get the buses and subways started again failed because the transit board in Buffalo says it's $5 million short. And in Southern California, a very different type of work stoppage, one that is severely affecting health care. Workers for Kaiser Permanente went on strike at 7 hospitals and more than 40 medical offices. The union includes nurses, technicians, and clerks, and it has rejected Kaiser's latest contract offer. A total of 11,000 workers are on strike against Kaiser, the nation's oldest and largest health care organization. There are new worries about chemical weapons tonight. The president of Iraq admits his nation has sophisticated chemical weapons and, if need be, will use them to attack Israel. Saddam Hussein says his country would retaliate if Israel were to attack Iraq, as in 1981 when Israel bombed an Iraqi nuclear reactor. Hussein denies Iraq has nuclear weapons, even though several Iraqis were arrested last week for allegedly trying to obtain nuclear weapons parts. British guards now have half their prison back. Scores of inmates have stopped rioting and surrendered to authorities at the Strangeways medium security prison in Manchester. Inmates say no one has died in the uprising, but a prison official says it is too soon to be sure of that. The 19th century facility is one of Europe's most crowded prisons. Conditions there are believed to be the cause of the riots. Armed police and fire trucks with water cannons surround China's Tiananmen Square, one day after the government closed the square to stop a demonstration. Overseas, dissidents had asked Chinese people to stroll through the square yesterday to protest last June's military crackdown on pro-democracy demonstrators. And in the Soviet Union, Lithuania's president is telling Moscow changes in Lithuania don't have to be immediate. Lithuanian officials have asked for talks with Moscow in an effort to diffuse the tension there since Lithuania declared its independence from the Kremlin in early February. In Atlanta, President Bush talked about America's tradition of freedom and of free speech. Speaking before the National Association of Broadcasters Convention, the president defended TV Marti, the latest U.S. effort to broadcast pro-democracy TV programs to Fidel Castro's Cuba.
In the realm of ideas and ideals, there are no borders. No government should fear free speech, whether it's from entertainment programs or accurate, unbiased news about world events.
Castro has threatened to use powerful transmitters to block reception of TV Marti. That has some American broadcasters worried about interference in their own TV signals. National Republican Party Chairman Lee Atwater is back in the hospital. He's undergoing radiation treatment in New York now to reduce the size of a non-malignant tumor in his brain. Atwater, who is 39 years old, has been hospitalized twice since the brain tumor was discovered a month ago. Within the hour, the United States Supreme Court intervened to block California's first execution in 23 years. Robert Alton Harris was convicted of killing 2 teenagers in 1978 and was scheduled to die in the gas chamber tomorrow. A federal judge had blocked the execution until it was determined that Harris had enough psychiatric assistance at his trial. The Supreme Court agreed with that ruling, postponing Harris's execution. And a victory for car manufacturers at the Supreme Court today. The court let stand lower court rulings protecting automakers from lawsuits charging that the lack of an airbag is a design defect. In the decision, the justices cited federal car safety laws which give automakers the option of installing airbags. Well, when we come back, we'll bring you the latest on the Greyhound shooting.
And police are trying to determine who set this house on fire this morning with the man who lived here inside. I'm Craig Owensby. That story's next on News Channel 5.
It's Red Lobster's new crab and shrimp special. Oh, snow crab, plus golden fried shrimp, and new garlic shrimp. 15 shrimp and half a pound of crab legs, just $8.95 at Red Lobster.
She loved me, and she's gone. Did I invent her? The secrets in her twilight eyes, the whispers at my bedside, her arms, her mouth, saved me. But how? Her amber hair and all the smell of it. She's deep in my blood, the only woman I'll ever love.
Love is child's play. Once you've known obsession, Calvin Klein's obsession.
Ah, the smell of it.
Now your gift with any $35 obsession purchase at Dillard's.
For 20 years, it gave us adventure, romance, and dealt with every social issue of the day while becoming America's most popular program. Gunsmoke, an American original. Weekdays at 4 on Channel 5.
Police and fire investigators are looking into a strange incident in Donaldson this morning. Someone set Michael Adams' house on fire while he was tied up, or rather taped up, inside. News Channel 5's Craig Owensby reports.
Michael Adams told police that someone broke into his house on Lakeford Drive while he slept this morning, then handcuffed him, stuck him to the bedpost with duct tape, and set the house on fire in 3 places. Adams got loose and ran next door for help, but he nearly didn't make it.
Must have used a whole roll of duct tape on him. He had it around his legs, his arms, his hands, and just about completely around his head.
Police say Adams probably would have died if he hadn't broken the bedpost and gotten away. His neighbors in the other half of that duplex say that fire has them worried.
We've got smoke marks going up the wall in my son's room, and we leave his door closed at night, and it's going to be stayed open from now on.
Investigators are trying to figure out why someone would attack Adams in his home. Police say he's never been in trouble that they know of, and the neighbors say he'd lived there just a few weeks. Police are looking for one suspect they describe only as a white male about 45 with brown hair, but there are an awful lot of those around, and one detective described that search as like looking for a needle in a haystack. In Donaldson, Craig Owensby, News Channel 5.
The bill that grew out of the Operation Rocky Top investigation of public corruption that would have allowed the suspension of public officials who are indicted appears to be a dead issue this year. The bill passed overwhelmingly last week, but the sponsor recalled it. to add an amendment, but in that week, many of the supporters dropped out. That sends it back to committee, where it appears to be stuck for this legislative session. State and local investigators are still looking for leads into the weekend shooting of a Greyhound bus driver. The slug went through the driver's window, shattered his left elbow, ricocheted into his leg, and embedded itself in the door frame. 58-year-old David Bryant is now in fair condition at Vanderbilt Medical Center. Bill Holt of the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation wants anyone who has information about the shooting to call the TBI at 741-0430.
We presently have a mini task force set up encompassing agents of the TBI and the FBI and ATF, and local law enforcement, and we're pursuing every lead that has come in.
Greyhound officials say they have not seen a decline in ridership since the Saturday night shooting. But in light of the recent violent incidents surrounding the Greyhound strike, this question to you on Telepoll tonight. Do you think Greyhound buses are safe to ride? If you do, call 737-5000. But if you don't think Greyhound buses are safe to drive, call 737-5001. We'll be checking those early Telepoll returns later on in this newscast. And the continuing violence in the Greyhound strike is the topic of tonight's 5 on the Square, which is also coming up here in just a few minutes on our 6:30 report. Get the scoop on check cashing stores right here in just a moment. First, though, if you'll be traveling tomorrow, let's get the scoop on weather in some key cities. Atlanta will be partly cloudy on Tuesday. Chicago will have partly cloudy skies, too. It'll be a sunny day in Dallas. Los Angeles will have sunshine. Memphis forecasting partly cloudy skies tomorrow. It will rain in New York. Take your umbrella northward. Panama City Beach, though, will have sunshine. However, Washington, D.C. is forecasting shower activity tomorrow.
At AutoZone, we put a lot of miles on our rig, so we know the importance of taking care of an engine. That's why we offer the best parts and products for a good, honest price every day of the week. Like Exxon Superflow High Performance Motor Oil, just 73 cents a quart every day. And AC or Motorcraft oil filters, 2 for just $5 every day. At AutoZone, we help people who take care of their cars with our best parts and our lowest prices every day, so you never have to wait for a sale.
Sonic's Car Hops have a special for you.
Get a creamy strawberry shake, vanilla shake,
Or my favorite, chocolate with.
Sonic's famous burger, made just the way you like it.
And you have Sonic's Car Hop Special, a burger and shake for only $2.19.
And while you're here, vote for your favorite car hop to help select Sonic's new National Car Hop of the Year.
And Red Meat. Accommodations made through the exquisite Malibu Beach Inn.
I take you just the way you are.
I'd like you to try a new radio station. They call it Light FM, and it's really different. This station believes in music. They play light favorites, no hard rock, and no sleepy elevator music. They never talk over your favorite songs, and it'll always be that way. So, turn on the light. Light FM, 92.9.
Turn on your hot light.
Try it. You'll love the difference.
Hey, you know, considering what it might have been, not a bad weekend.
Product recall. I want to put the word out that the Friday forecast was defective, and I want to bring that back in.
It sounds like something out of our business money report.
Well, it turned out to be a lot better weekend than I expected. The system kind of went to the north. It rained over the Great Lakes, and it rained down on the Gulf Coast, but it was a beautiful weekend here. You remember I told you Friday, though, the cold air would come back, and tonight it's coming back.
Well, you can feel it.
Sorry, I was right about that. All right, let's take a look at the weather map for tomorrow. Big storm system up over the northeastern United States with clouds and snow flurries and even some snow showers down into the central Appalachians for tomorrow. Would not be a bit surprised if some folks in the upper Cumberland Plateau and northeast Tennessee, mountains of western North Carolina didn't see some snow flurry action over the next 24 hours. So this is a big change from the weather we saw over the weekend because of a strong insurge of cold Canadian air. The satellite picture this hour shows that this system is really wound up. The frontal system has pushed off to the east of us now, and these big clumps of clouds here are big thunderstorms that have caused a series of severe thunderstorm watches to be issued. Now, there's moisture wrapping all the way around this system and an upper-level system coming in behind, causing quite a bit of cloudiness, moving down into Kentucky now, and I expect that cloud cover to move down into Tennessee, at least the northern half of Middle Tennessee overnight. So we're going to go mostly cloudy, and again, in areas of eastern Kentucky and the upper Cumberland Plateau, maybe some snow flurries toward dawn tomorrow. It's 58 here in Nashville, down to 41 in Louisville, and 37 this hour in Chicago. Some scattered snow flurries being reported up over central Illinois at this time, and it wouldn't be surprised to see an inch or two of snow up over parts of Wisconsin. My forecast for tonight: for us, it'll be turning cloudy, and it will also be turning much colder, with an overnight low of 35, northwesterly winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. For tomorrow, partly cloudy. I think the best chance of seeing lots of clouds would be tomorrow morning. High of about 52. Tomorrow night's low, we could have some more problems with freezing temperatures. Thought we were out of that, but not yet. Low of 31 degrees, northerly winds at 10 to 15 miles an hour. And the 5-day forecast: partly cloudy skies on Wednesday and 60 degrees. Could shower a bit on Thursday and 63. And then guess what? Another rather cool air mass for this time of year comes in. 56 on Friday and 55 on Saturday. So any way you slice it, Bud, this temperature pattern is going to give us some below normal readings the whole week.
You know, I've been told by people to know a lot more about gardening than I do that you run a real risk if you put something in the ground before about April 15th.
That's right. You pay your taxes, you plant your garden.
Is that right? Is that it?
That's about it.
We'll remember that. And so those who planted early may pay the price.
Yeah, of course, maybe they'll get a refund, too. You can't tell. Oh, that's a different thing.
I'll send them to you. All right, Ron, thanks. Now we'd like to introduce you to someone new in tonight's Money Report. He's Steve Crowley, who will be reporting on money news for News Channel 5 3 times each week. In tonight's report, Steve talks about those check cashing stores you've been seeing more and more of in recent years. He wanted to find out, what can these businesses offer you, and how much does it cost?
Pat Bergman comes to this check cashing store a lot. She uses it as a kind of a pay-as-you-go bank.
Well, I don't have a checking account. I don't have a savings account. And so this is the only alternative I have.
Check cashing stores got their start 50 years ago for this very reason. Owners say they still cater to non-banking customers, but a recent Consumer Bankers Association survey shows 2/3 of us using these services today do have bank accounts. So while we could cash a check here at the bank for free, why would anyone pay money to get cash at a check cashing store?
More convenient than driving across town to my bank.
Convenient, easier. Banks are more hassles.
What are bankers doing about this? Well, many want to compete with check cashing stores by extending lobby hours and opening on weekends. But
I think they look at them much as the grocery stores might look at the 7-Elevens. They're geared towards convenience. Maybe their pricing in some areas is higher, but people make that choice, and there is the choice.
Bottom line, for some of us, check cashing stores are the only choice. There is no lingering holding period that banks often require. We can turn our paycheck, two-party or personal check, government check, or out-of-state checks into cold, hard cash. Just be sure you have a solid ID. What's the cost? Expect to pay from 2 to 5% on a $400 check. That's $8 to $20 right off the top. But watch out, fees can and often do go much higher. For most of us, the big question: how much are we willing to pay for check cashing convenience? I'm Steve Crowley with your Money Report.
And Steve will be back with us again Wednesday and Friday. Well, a very bad day on Tokyo's version of Wall Street today, the second worst day in its history, in fact. At the Tokyo Stock Exchange, the Nikkei average dropped sharply, down 1,978 points. That is 6.5% of the market's value. Experts blame the drop on a weak yen versus the strong dollar. And in New York, the Dow Jones Industrial Average went down as well, falling almost 7 points, closing at 2,700.45. Let's check these local stocks. Now, American General lost 1 7/8 today. Sovereign Financial took a pretty good hit as well, losing 1 3/8 points. And First Union was off a half.
Antiques only. 500 dealers from 33 states. A monthly show beginning this Saturday and Sunday at the Lebanon, Tennessee Fairgrounds.
Get ready for a special Sports Illustrated sneak preview.
It's unreal. The man, it's like he's from another planet.
You never know what he's going to do.
He doesn't even know. He just does it, and you're like,
duh. They just saw an amazing video cassette presented by Sports Illustrated, starring the most exciting figure in sports today.
Who else? Jordan.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. Michael Jordan, Come Fly With Me 1990. Over 40 minutes of the game's ultimate playmaker. Yours free with your paid subscription to SI.
Yes!
Call toll-free and get 30 issues of SI at over 45% off the cover price.
I didn't realize you could save that much.
Including the exclusive previews. Special issues like the giant 35th anniversary covers issue and the red hot swimsuit issue.
So what's the catch?
No catch. You get it all for just 3 monthly installments of $14.97 each. Even use your credit card.
Golden. Let's do it.
Save over 45% and get the Jordan video free.
You're going to be giving away a lot of these babies, starting right here.
You can build it, you can fix it, you can do it if you try. If you think it at Home Depot, the limit is the sky.
At Home Depot, low prices are just the beginning. We guarantee absolutely everything, our products and our advice. So when you start a project at Home Depot, you'll love what you finish.
When you're with us at Home Depot, you'll feel right at home.
Life got you down? Then escape to a quiet country inn and meet some friendly new folks.
A bird's just a skinny elephant with wings.
Weird, but friendly.
Get the hell out of my ear.
Well, usually friendly. Escape with New Heart. Weekdays at 5 on Channel 5.
The place to be, News Channel 5, 8 o'clock
right
tonight.
Here, 8 o'clock tonight. Boy, a lot of people have been calling today wanting to know about that time. Well, it tips off at about, what I would say, 8:10, 8:14. But, you know, turn the old channel at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, because it's the end of the basketball season, also
Right.
the end of the line for Brent Musburger, who will call the game tonight, right?
Exactly. And a lot of people are wondering, will he or won't he say anything about his demise, shall we say? And I would say that Brent will say something at the end of the game and be very professional about it.
Well, I would hope
Tomorrow, the boxing gloves may come off between he and CBS.
Oh, is that right?
We'll see about that. We'll talk about this first. The lead-footed Dale Earnhardt also has a light foot, in case you didn't know. Earnhardt showed yesterday he can be easy on the pedal by winning the Trans-South 500 at Darlington in the first ever race won on radial tires. Earnhardt out-dueled Mark Barton for the checkered flag to add to his Winston Cup points lead. And here's the way they stack up. Dale is leading. Morgan Shepherd is second. Jeff Bodine is third. Then Kyle Petty. Bill Elliott is fifth, and Darrell Waldrop not having a good year at all in 10th place with 618 points. Well, as we say, the 15-year tenure of CBS Sports #1 anchor announcer Brent Musburger will be over following tonight's NCAA basketball championship telecast. Musburger and CBS could not agree on a new contract, so the network fired their main man, who was making almost $2 million a year. Musburger allegedly was asking for double his salary and was unhappy because CBS was cutting back on his assignments. Now, whether or not Brent will make a farewell statement tonight on the telecast is unknown, so I guess we'll all just have to tune in. Well, for those of us who procrastinate and wish that the last minute was longer, I know where you can find that last minute prolonged into utter boredom. This year you found it in the final 2 minutes of the majority of the NCAA tournament games. Now, to be more specific, those final 2 minutes through 60 games of the 1990 NCAA tournament stretched to 10 minutes and 19 seconds. Which calculates into 619 minutes. So what should be 120 minutes is now 619 minutes. So what do we get for those extra 499 minutes or 8+ hours of basketball? Basically, boredom and too many trips to the fridge. And what goes on during those final 2 minutes? Predictable fouls, predictable foul shots, and predictable timeouts. So what's the answer? Well, for starters, how about no timeout carryover from the first half to the second? If a coach doesn't use his first half timeouts, he ought to lose them. And for all non-shooting fouls in the final 2 minutes, the team fouled should get a one-on-one free throw opportunity and possession of the ball. Now, until the rules are changed, there should be a disclaimer. It should read, 2-minute warning. The next 120 seconds of this game could put you to sleep. Now, let's hope that didn't happen tonight, but it could.
I think you're on the money. That has really become noticeable this year.
Tragic, tragic. We need to change it.
All right, Hope. All right. 8 o'clock tonight, right here.
We'll be there.
We'll be glued. Thank you. The continuing violence in the strike against Greyhound is the subject of 5 on the Square tonight. And here is News Channel 5's Roy Hobbs.
This bullet hole represents the escalating violence apparently resulting from the strike against Greyhound. Nationwide, there have been 29 shooting incidents, 3 of them right here in Tennessee, but this one is by far the most serious, sending a bus driver to the hospital with a severe bullet wound to the arm. It could be assumed that as long as the strike continues, so will the violence. Our 5 on the Square question asks, should the government now get involved and end the strike now?
Good question. I was watching that on the news this morning, and I would think, apart from an FBI investigation or something, it'd be difficult for the federal government to do anything.
I think the federal government, for the most part, ought to stay out of this type of stuff unless it's, you know, some sort of national emergency or something, No, not yet.
Yes, I think so. If not, I mean, it's not getting resolved another way.
when you start taking life, when life means nothing as opposed to money, then it's time for the government to take charge.
I don't know that they can. I think probably it would be better if they stayed out of it at this point in time.
The union says it has nothing to do with the shootings and wants to continue negotiations, but contract negotiations have been suspended by Greyhound until the violence ends. All this means is the two sides are no closer to a settlement than they were a month ago when the strike began. With 5 on the Square, I'm Roy Hobbs, News Channel 5.
And our telepoll, of course, focuses also on the Greyhound issue in another way. Our question, do you think Greyhound buses are safe to ride? You can still vote. We hope you will, and we'll check the returns when we come back.
Can you guess how these people got rid of over 900 pounds of excess fat? It's easy. They used Calban 3000. Just look at some of the results.
On the Calban program, I lost 5 to 7 pounds weekly and have lost over 100 pounds so far.
I lost half of my body weight. Old friends don't even recognize me. In just a few short months, I've lost 65 pounds and 10 inches from my waist. I feel like a new person.
Calban 3000 has no dangerous stimulants or chemicals, no harmful side effects, and it's absolutely guaranteed to work or your money back.
Started to lose weight immediately and lost 70 pounds overall.
I used to hate to wear revealing clothes. Now I love to.
Hi, I'm Deanna Hall. Just before the Miss World Model Contest, I look like this. I used Calban 3000 to lose 35 pounds in 5 weeks and won the title.
After losing 50 pounds and getting slimmer, I noticed that my attitude was changing. I felt better about myself.
How does Calban 3000 produce these amazing results? Scientists believe Calban bonds with food and blocks the absorption of calories, especially those from fats.
I went from a size 22 to a size 8. Thanks, Calban. Can you believe I used to weigh 252 pounds? Calban has changed my life.
Most of my life was spent overweight, but now I feel positive and in control of my life thanks to Calban 3000.
Calban's given me a new lease on life. I know I'll never be fat again.
If after 3 weeks you don't see a significant weight loss with no loss of energy, simply return the empty container for a full refund. Why not order right now? You deserve the dramatic improvement in health and self-confidence that comes with a trim, attractive body.
Call 1-800-572-3500. 3-week supply just $19.95 plus $3 shipping and handling. Or order a 6-week supply for $38.95 and get this 48-inch strand of Chinese faux pearls absolutely free. Save the COD fees by using your MasterCard, Visa, or American Express. Call now 1-800-572-3500. That's 1-800-572-3500.
Well, let's take a look ahead now to the stories you'll see after the ball game tonight on News Channel 5's Late Report. Here's Chris Clark.
Thanks, Bud. Coming up right after the game, could there be an income tax in our future? Lawmakers meeting at the Capitol tonight to discuss bringing an income tax to Tennessee. We'll hear that debate. The Bordeaux landfill, well, it may be closed, but there's a new place to dump our garbage in Nashville. We'll tell you about that. And in tonight's follow-up report, we'll take a close look at something you may have seen, the World Baptist Center's huge new steeple and what goes on inside the center. Those stories, and of course, Hope Hines will have the highlights from tonight's NCAA championship. All of that, Bud, coming up after the game tonight.
All right, thank you, Chris. And right now, we're going to wrap things up with the early returns on News Channel 5's telepoll. To the question, do you think Greyhound buses are safe to ride in light of the recent strike-related violence? 25% of you think they are safe to ride, while 75% of you think they are not safe. You still have time to vote. Call 737-5000 if you think Greyhound buses are safe to ride, 737-5001 if you think they're not. Again, Chris will bring you those final results tonight, right after the NCAA championship game. Now, from all of us here at News Channel 5, Bud Hedinger, thanks for watching. Good night.
Find the big winner in Crystal's Double Dollars game, and you're going to need this sucker to take home the cash. Every time you stop in, you can play and win over $1 million in Crystal food and cash prizes. This game piece is worth $10,000. Find a wild double, and you can double any cash prize, which would make this worth $20,000. Boy, with that kind of dough, you could change your name, move to a new city, hide from relatives. See ya.
Hey! Hey, bring that back! Someone stop that guy!
Here at Channel 5, we understand that Tennessee businesses are what keep Tennessee flourishing. That's why we proudly bring you Buy Tennessee First, a WTVF campaign that lets our viewers know about the abundance of quality services and products of Tennessee. By investing in this campaign, you can increase your business profits, boost our economy, and promote state pride. Call 248-5222 to be a part of Buy Tennessee First.
Find hour after hour of savings at Circuit City's Marathon Sale. Save on this Frigidaire 14 cubic foot no frost refrigerator, now just $399.97. Or take home this 4-head VCR with on-screen programming and remote for just $237.97. Don't miss hour after hour of incredible savings. It's the Marathon Sale at Circuit City, where service is state-of-the-art.
Hi, do you have Ninja Turtles? Is it here?
It's not here, it's nowhere.
I've been a third Is it here?
Oh yeah, on a virgin every which way.
If you're getting nowhere,
Not here.
it's because you didn't start here. The real Yellow Pages from South Central Bell. It's here or nowhere.
It's a Nashville tradition. Chris Clark at 10 and Entertainment Tonight at 10:30.